Stop everything. Right now. Because what A$AP Rocky just confessed about Rihanna on camera has the entire internet in absolute meltdown mode. And trust me, by the end of this video, you will understand why millions of fans are calling this the most unbelievable love story in modern music history. A Harlem kid who couldn't even get past the bouncers. The biggest female superstar on the planet standing just a few feet away. A mother who predicted everything years before the world had a clue. And one leaked studio secret that Rocky was never supposed to say out loud. Ever. Stay with me, because the detail he dropped near the end of that interview, it changes everything you thought you knew about Rihanna's disappearance from music. Everything. And the wildest part is that the clues were sitting in plain sight for over a decade, hiding inside old interviews nobody took seriously until right now. So let's rewind all the way back to where it started. Because the way A$AP Rocky met Rihanna sounds like a scene straight out of a movie that no studio would ever greenlight for being too unrealistic. Picture it. New York City. Late night. A young Rakim Mayers, not famous yet, not A$AP Rocky the global fashion icon yet, is standing outside a nightclub with two friends you might have heard of. Virgil Abloh, gone far too soon, forever legendary, and Matthew Williams. Three future legends of music and fashion, standing on a sidewalk together, and the bouncers won't let them in. He is arguing with security, getting heated, and at that exact moment, the worst possible moment, the door opens, and out walks Rihanna. Not a singer, not an up-and-comer. Rihanna. Already Rihanna. The Rihanna. And here's the part that gives me chills every single time I hear it. They locked eyes. Immediately. Right there on the sidewalk, in the middle of Rocky bickering with a bouncer like a regular guy, the most famous woman in music looked at him, and he looked back. He admits he was in a complete daze. And then, this is the human detail nobody expected. He was embarrassed. Genuinely embarrassed. The future king of swagger, the man who would go on to redefine hip-hop fashion, was standing there hoping Rihanna didn't think he was just some nobody causing a scene at the door. Now here's the question everybody asks when they hear this story. Did she get him inside? Did she wave her hand, whisper to security, and pull the future love of her life into the club like a fairy tale? No, she didn't. He never got in. And honestly, that tiny detail makes the entire story better. Because what happened between A$AP Rocky and Rihanna was never built on fame, favors, or access. It was built on something that took almost a decade to fully detonate. And when it finally did, the internet would never recover. But before we get to the prophecy, yes, there's a prophecy, and it's going to give you goosebumps. We need to talk about the night the whole world first saw the chemistry between them explode on live television. Because what Rocky just admitted about that performance explains everything that came after it. Fast forward to the MTV Video Music Awards. He is booked to perform alongside her. He knew about it in advance. He had rehearsed. He was ready. By his own account, he wasn't nervous at all. Zero nerves, completely calm, right up until the moment it actually happened. And then Rihanna started walking toward him on stage. Listen to how Rocky describes it, because the psychology here is fascinating. The second she started coming down that stage and his part was coming up, something in his body betrayed him. People around him kept hyping him up. You're about to go out. You're about to go out. And instead of helping, every word was pulling him deeper into his own head. He's literally telling people to stop touching him. He's distracted. His heart is pounding. The unshakable A$AP Rocky was, for a few seconds, completely shook. And then, something else took over. He calls it a cocky Holy Ghost. Let that phrase sink in. In the middle of the most nerve-wracking moment of his young career, staring at Rihanna in front of millions of viewers, something clicked inside him and told him he was born for that stage. That this was exactly where he was supposed to be. And just like that, the nerves vanished. He stepped into his moment. The performance became legendary, and the entire world watched two artists with undeniable, electric chemistry share one stage. Fans have replayed that footage for years. The way they looked at each other, the way they moved together, the comfort, the spark. People weren't crazy for seeing it, because it was real. And here's the thing that makes this so much bigger than a performance story. Rocky didn't just get through that night. He made a quiet promise to himself about Rihanna that he would spend the next several years keeping. We'll get to that promise in a minute, and when you hear it, you'll understand why fans are calling him the most intentional man in hip-hop. Because what happened next wasn't a love story. Not yet. What happened next was something way more unusual in the music industry. A genuine, years-long friendship between two megastars that the entire world kept trying to turn into a romance, while they kept insisting it wasn't one. And the way they handled that pressure says everything about who these two really are. After that MTV moment, their careers kept colliding. She personally requested him for her tour. Think about that. Not the label, not management. Her. A special request. She just wanted him. During rehearsals, Rocky noticed something about Rihanna that genuinely shocked him. And it's a detail that tells you more about her work ethic than 1,000 magazine profiles ever could. She rehearsed exactly like him. He's obsessive about rehearsal, choreography, positioning, precision. He locks in every detail, but he never burns his full energy before showtime. You can't give 100% in an empty room. You save the explosion for the live audience. Most artists don't understand that balance. Rihanna didn't just understand it. She was already living it. He realized, with genuine amazement, that she was just like him. Same discipline, same instinct, same refusal to peak too early. And here's the beautiful payoff of that discovery. Because they both held back in rehearsals, the first time they truly went all the way. Full energy, full performance, full connection, was live in front of the world. They didn't really do them, as Rocky puts it, until they did it for real. That's what made it magic. That's what the audience felt. That raw, unrehearsed, once-only electricity wasn't an accident. It was two perfectionists trusting the moment. Now ask yourself, how many times do you think two people can share that kind of moment before something deeper becomes inevitable? The industry certainly thought so. Because for years, everybody around A$AP Rocky kept asking him the same question, and his answer, at the time, seemed to close the door forever. There's an old interview clip that's been going viral again, and it's painful to watch in hindsight. Painful in the best possible way. The host leans in and asks Rocky directly, "Why not Rihanna? You two make a cute couple. You're not ready for love, it's in your eyes. Too young, too wild. But why not her?" And Rocky's answer at the time? Smooth, evasive, and, knowing what we know now, absolutely hilarious. He grins and says he makes a cute couple with a lot of pretty girls. The host pushes harder. Why not just say, "Let's do it"? And Rocky delivers the line that defined their entire friendship era, because it never happened. If it was going to happen, it would have happened. Read that again. If it was going to happen, it would have happened. He was so certain, so confident, so completely, beautifully wrong. But here's where the story shifts from funny to downright supernatural. Because while Rocky was busy telling the world it would never happen, there was one person who already knew the truth. One person who had seen the ending years in advance and wasn't shy about saying it out loud. His mother. Rocky revealed that even back then, even when he was dating other people, even when Rihanna was just his friend, just his homie, just someone he was cool with, his mother would pull him aside and say words that would echo for a decade. She'd acknowledge whoever he was with at the time, no names mentioned, and then she'd say it. "I want you with Riri." Riri. Not that Rihanna girl. Not your famous friend. Riri. Said with the familiarity of someone who was already family. And what did Rocky do? What any son does when his mother is absolutely right about something he's not ready to hear. He deflected. He laughed it off. He literally told his own mother to mind her business. He insisted Rihanna didn't even like him like that. They were just friends. Chill, ma. Relax. Mothers know best. Rocky says it himself now. Mothers know best. Think about the weight of that detail for a second. Before the Billboard charts knew. Before the blogs knew. Before Rocky himself knew. One woman in Harlem looked at her son, looked at the future, and called the entire shot. He spent years telling her she was wrong. He now spends his life proving she was right. If that doesn't give you goosebumps, wait until you hear what happened in January 2022, because the moment they chose to tell the world about their first child wasn't random, wasn't managed by publicists, and wasn't planned by some crisis PR team. It was pure Harlem, pure Rihanna, pure Rocky, and it's the single most iconic pregnancy announcement in entertainment history. But first, there's one more piece of the puzzle you need to see. The moment where the friendship mask finally slipped in public and nobody realized it at the time. There's an interview moment that fans have dissected frame by frame, and it deserves every second of that attention. Rihanna asks Rocky a simple, playful question. "What's your favorite outfit I've ever worn?" Now, understand the trap here. Her fashion history is a museum. Iconic Met Gala moments. Countless red carpets. Looks that broke the internet. Looks that defined entire eras of style. Picking one favorite is practically impossible, and yet Rocky didn't hesitate for a single second. The British Fashion Awards. The red carpet. That look. Her reaction is priceless. She does a double take. Of all her red carpets, all her videos, all her history-making fashion moments, that one? She's genuinely shocked. She even throws out other options, clearly expecting him to name one of the louder, more famous looks. But Rocky doesn't budge. He's calm, certain, and specific. He liked that look. It was, in his words, fire. Here's why this moment matters more than anyone understood at the time. He wasn't answering like a casual friend scanning her highlights for an acceptable answer. He answered like a man who had been paying attention, deeply, quietly, for years. A man who had cataloged her moments not as a fan, not as a colleague, but as someone who had memorized her. She was shocked because she thought she was asking a friend a fun question. She was actually asking a man who had been in love with her long before either of them was ready to say it. And he confirmed it in his own words. She was always his boo. Even when they were just friends, he always had love for her. Always. The friendship wasn't a detour on the way to the love story. The friendship was the love story, hiding in plain sight, waiting for the right season. Now let that timeline sink in, because it reframes everything. The nightclub sidewalk, the MTV stage, the tour she personally requested him for, the rehearsals where they mirrored each other's discipline, the mother's prophecy. Every single beat was building toward a moment the world wasn't ready for. And when that moment finally arrived, it arrived in the most Rihanna way imaginable. January 2022. Harlem, New York City. Remember where this story started? Outside a nightclub, with Rocky as a nobody arguing with bouncers. Now look where the story decided to bloom. His home turf. His streets. His city. She stepped out in Harlem wearing a long pink coat, unbuttoned over her stomach, with vintage denim and jewels catching the winter light. He stood beside her, and in that single walk, no press release, no staged studio shoot, no exclusive magazine deal. They told the entire world they were having their first child. Look at how he talks about that day, because his voice changes when he describes it. He points out that even though Rihanna is from Barbados, she looked like a Harlem chick to him that day, like she was from the Bronx, like she braided hair on the weekends. Pink coat, denims, jewels, pretty, happy, glowing. Do you hear what he's actually saying? He isn't describing an outfit. He's describing a woman from an island who had so completely stepped into his world that she looked like she was born in it. The Queen of Barbados had become Harlem royalty, and Harlem claimed her instantly. That photo shoot, if you can even call it that, became an instant cultural artifact. No announcement caption, no PR statement. Just two people, one pink coat, and a baby bump in the middle of Rocky's neighborhood. And the child they were carrying, their first son, would be named RZA, after the legendary Wu-Tang Clan architect. A hip-hop name, a New York name, a legacy name. But here's the part of the story that turned this from a sweet celebrity romance into something that genuinely moved millions of people. What fatherhood did to A$AP Rocky as a man. When interviewers asked him how it felt, he didn't give a rehearsed answer. He said he'd always wanted to have a family. Always. And when they asked what he was most excited about in becoming a father, his answer was so simple it looped back around to profound: becoming a daddy. That's it. That was the whole answer. And in interviews since, watching Rihanna move through motherhood, Rocky admitted something that stopped people mid-scroll. He had never seen a woman look so beautiful while pregnant. Not once. Not ever. And then came the confession that revealed the deepest layer of this entire story. The one about what watching her become a mother actually did to him. He said he was already in love with her, but watching her become a mother made him fall in love all over again. And then he went further. Further than almost any male celebrity of his generation has ever gone on camera. He said his respect for women is growing every single day. He caught himself mid-sentence and said he's not trying to sound like a saint. But then he kept going anyway. He talked about what mothers go through, what they put their emotions through, what their bodies go through, the changes, the sacrifice, and then the line that fans have turned into a quote graphic 1,000 times over. To have a daughter who shares that same species, that same future, it's mind-boggling to him. Sit with that. The same man who once told an interviewer, "I make a cute couple with a lot of pretty girls," is now sitting in interviews delivering unscripted monologues about the sacred strength of mothers. That is not a PR pivot. That is not image management. That is a man being visibly rebuilt by love in real time and letting the cameras watch it happen. Now, if you're thinking this is the part where the story gets comfortable, where they ride off into domestic bliss, you don't know Rihanna's fan base. Because there's one question that has haunted the internet for years, one accusation fans have been dying to hurl at A$AP Rocky directly, and an interviewer finally said it to his face. "Are you the reason we don't have an album?" The room laughed, but make no mistake, this was a genuine interrogation. The host laid out the evidence like a prosecutor. 3 kids. Every year, another pregnancy announcement. Shows tried to book Rihanna twice, and twice, life intervened. The fanbase has been starving for new music for years, and standing right there was the man the internet has jokingly, and sometimes not so jokingly, blamed for the great Rihanna album drought. He did what he always does. He absorbed the hit with total composure. "Respectfully, you're right," he began, and the internet probably stopped breathing for a second, thinking he was about to confirm the worst. And then he detonated the bombshell. "She's in the studio right now." Right now? Present tense. Not planning to. Not thinking about it. In the studio, cooking, his word, as he spoke. And the second the words left his mouth, you could watch the realization hit his own face in real time. He wasn't supposed to say that. He immediately started laughing, backpedaling, half apologizing to Rihanna through the camera, "Sorry, babe," muttering that he was going to get in trouble for this. And he was absolutely right. Because in one unguarded sentence, A$AP Rocky had done what Rihanna's entire PR machine had refused to do for years. He confirmed the album is real, it's active, and it's being cooked right now. That clip alone detonated across social media, and it tells you something essential about their dynamic. He isn't the reason the music stopped. He's the man accidentally leaking that the music never actually stopped at all. There's a difference, and that difference is everything. But if you really want to understand why this relationship has survived things that have destroyed every other power couple in music, you have to hear what he said when an interviewer brought up the one thing that's supposedly impossible for a man to handle: his woman being worth more than him. Not a little more. Not comfortably more. Billions more. Here's how that moment went down. Someone floated the eternal, toxic question, the one that has quietly poisoned 1,000 celebrity relationships. How does a man handle his woman being the bigger star, the bigger earner, the bigger everything? Two high profiles, two impossible schedules, two gravitational pulls. One has one agenda, the other has another. Most couples in that position quietly combust. His answer should be taught in schools. My woman got billions. I got multi-millions. He says it flat, almost casually, like he's reading the weather. And then he builds, sentence by sentence, into one of the most viral monologues any rapper has ever delivered about love and ego. Her success is never his demise. What she built. That has nothing to do with him, and everything to do with her. He did what he did for himself, and he's proud of what he did for himself. And then he turns the question back on the world with genuine confusion in his voice. What kind of man lets another person, especially one with less money, less everything, talk him into feeling insecure about his own woman winning? What part of the game is that? Where he's from, that's not a question. That's not even a thought. Nah, bro. He's proud of her. Full stop. She earned every bit of it. Those last 5 words, "she did that," are the entire philosophy in miniature. Not "we did that." Not "I helped." She did that. Full stop. In an industry where male ego has detonated more relationships than distance, touring, and tabloids combined, he looked into the camera and declared that his pride in her doesn't cost him a single drop of his own self-worth. Her billions don't shrink his millions. Her crown doesn't shrink his. And that, right there, is the answer to the question people have been asking since the friendship era. Why her? Why him? Why did this one survive when everything says it shouldn't have? Because, and this is the line that Rocky keeps returning to, the thesis of the entire love story, she's his match. She matches him. If it didn't match, it wouldn't work. Not fame matching fame. Not money matching money. Frequency matching frequency. Two people who rehearse the same way, work the same way, laugh the same way, and, when the lights come on and the crowd roars, explode the same way. And that brings us to the moment that ties the entire story together, the award speech. The promise. The full circle miracle that his mother saw coming all those years ago. There was a night, years back, when he leaned toward her and made a quiet promise. No cameras mattered. No crowd. He told her she inspired him, and that one day, he was going to take one of those trophies home. He said it back when it was just a dream between two friends. Years later, holding the award, standing at the microphone, he didn't thank the industry first. He didn't thank the voters first. He looked out into that room and said the words directly to her. "Baby girl, I love you. You wanted this so long ago. Remember what I told you all those years ago? That night I promised I'd be standing here? You remember that?" And then the 4 words that turned a decade of friendship, prophecy, rehearsal, and faith into one perfect sentence. We did it, baby. We. The boy who couldn't get into the club, and the girl who walked out of it. The mother's prophecy. The sidewalk where it started. All of it collapsed into one moment on one stage. And this time, he didn't need a cocky Holy Ghost. This time, he was exactly where he was born to be, standing next to exactly who he was born to match. So now, when someone asks how these two inspire each other, the answer almost sounds too simple for how rare it is. They feed off each other. Inspirational, aspirational energy, his words. She walks by after his performance and tells him she's proud. He watches her parent their children, pranking, playing, being, in his words, fun and silly, and just a mom, and falls in love with her all over again, daily, on a loop, with no off switch. 2 schedules, 2 empires, 3 children, 1 sidewalk in New York where it all began, and 1 mother in Harlem who saw the ending before the opening credits even rolled. But here's the question I cannot stop thinking about, and it's the one I want you to answer in the comments right now. He said it himself. If it was going to happen, it would have happened. For years, he used that line to explain why they were just friends. So which is it? Was he wrong? Or was he accidentally right the entire time? Did it never happen back then because it was never supposed to happen yet? Is timing the whole story? Drop your take below. Was this destiny? Or was this just two people patient enough to let a friendship become a foundation? And if you believe her album is finally coming now that Rocky let the studio's secret slip, say it loud in the comments, because the internet deserves a timestamp on who called it first. This story started with a locked door and a pair of locked eyes. A mother who knew. A promise made in a whisper and fulfilled on a stage. And a man who looked at billions of dollars, a global icon, the love of his life, and saw none of the trophies in all of the woman. She's his match. She always was. If this story moved you even half as much as it moved me, do me one favor. Share it with the one person in your life who matches you. And stick around, because what we've uncovered about what Rihanna is cooking in that studio right now might be even bigger than this love story. That's the next video. You're going to want to be here for it.